In the meantime, maybe we can start. I'm Councillor Musa, Mkhabela, and the MMC of Community Safety, acting Executive Mayor of JB Max. I'll now hand over to the acting speaker just to give us a purpose of this media briefing.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Buti. I am the acting speaker in the absence of the executive speaker, who is out of the country. Thank you, the executive mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, we had the council resolution that is sanctioned to the committee or a committee of this nature to sit around this issue, the situation of Mooibank. We then find it prudent that we must call the US media houses, but unfortunately we pick up that it's only Herald that is here. We expected also other houses, but the purpose was only to make sure that you've got the information or the relevant information as to what is actually happening with regard to the movement between the Mooibank residents, moving them from Mooibank to another part of our land. What actually is happening is that we want to make sure that when we leave the house, we are on power with the same information, because media houses were calling individually and we had to give them attention while we were busy, so it was like being disruptive actually. So we thought that it would be important that we give you the opportunity to then get information. After information, we ask questions, we are going to ask, getting for clarity purposes, and from there we'll then be releasing the statement from our side. So I'm going to give over to, I think the Sandile judge, the acting municipal manager, to just give us a briefing from what happened. But remember, the situation that we find ourselves is different from the ordinary situation where we talk about the, trying to address the situation of land. Land meaning that we gave people or are giving people land because of reasons beyond our control. And that land was specifically for that purpose. And we all know that there was an eviction order and there was no time was totally against us. But I will give to the judge who will then give us the background as to what happened, where are we right now. And then with us here, we've got also officials who have already introduced themselves, who will then, if there are questions that they will lead them, especially your technical questions, will then be allowing them to explain or to give us answers. I hope that the Hanan is on its way, the manga. I'm not sure what they say, are you coming or not coming anymore, but we are going to continue so that we must finish, because as I was speaking, we've got a lot of work to do, and it's Friday today, we must be hands on deck. Thank you, Tyatya. I think let's give over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Acting Speaker. Like I've indicated, my name is Sandile, the Acting Municipal Manager. As a bit of background, I just wanted to sketch out some situation that we found ourselves. The media personnel would be aware that there's a High Court order for the eviction of the people, the illegal settlers or rather the illegal persons who are staying on the farm in Mooibank. The subsequent court orders that were received, and the final one was on the for people to be removed by the 31st of March. The sheriff served to the people with the eviction order, which was supposed to have happened on the 11th. The final date was the 11th of April, and they were giving the final date on the 17th of April for the eviction of for the actual eviction from the site. So what has since happened is that the people have been evicted on the site. We were then able to assist as a municipality to locate them at the current site where they are staying, which is on the Chief Albert Tloome Street, which we famously call the Dasland Road, or the road to Philopepa, where we have resettled people. We are still in the process of resettling persons in that piece of land. Also, as a bit of a background, there's a media statement, the briefing notes that we have issued. I would not necessarily read it page by page. It effectively sketches out the plan that I'm trying to do, to basically say that in anticipation of the eviction of the people from Mooibank, what then council resolved, a report served in council where a piece of land was identified that is in Cllr, Relocation farm. After our attempt to relocate the people to Relocation farm, we then received some objections. The objections that we received, it was both from the National Department of Land Affairs and Rural Development and also the Provincial Department. The objection was basically to say that there is a communal farm, we cannot relocate people in there. It's a special purpose farm that was built. The condition apparently precedent on the title deed was that we cannot put in persons on that particular farm. There were also some concerns and objections from the adjacent communities and farmers. We received a letter from one of the legal representatives saying that we should not be moving people from the farm. We then, as a municipality, engaged various sister departments, public works, even the Department of Rural Development and Agriculture, to identify the possible piece of land where we can relocate persons. We failed on both occasions. We had also had discussions, particularly for the people. When we were looking at some of the alternatives, we wanted also to speak to Barolo. But noting that there is a concern around Seropi, the discussions with Barolo didn't take place. What then happened is that internally in the municipality, we were then able to identify a piece of land, one of our town lands, where the people are basically currently residing, or they are busy building their place of abode. The municipality had established an internal committee of councillors where they've been looking at this various matters. The presentation from the Department of Rural Development and Agriculture was also made to that committee of councillors, where the issue of us not going to be able to move to the Relocation farm was discussed and sort of agreed, and the councillors urged the management to then look for an alternative piece of land. The multi-party committee is being chaired by the Speaker and the Executive Mayor and other councillors, including the ward councillors of areas that are affected, were part of this particular meeting. What then happened is that on the 17th, which was this Monday, people were eventually moved. The sheriff, the police, and the municipality were involved in the relocation of people. We had a situation in Dasland Promosa, because once people realized that we are moving people to Dasland, to the Promosa Road, people from or other community members from the adjacent wards, Ward 17, Ward 18, no, Ward 17, Ward 21, and Ward 13, they started then coming over to say they are also looking for a place to stay, and we cannot prioritize the people from Mooibank. There was a situation, then we were then assisted in that situation on Monday. The acting mayor, the acting speaker were on site to communicate or negotiate with the community of the adjacent wards that I've mentioned, for purposes of saying that people must come in there. The situation escalated later in the day because we had evictions. People had already demolished their shacks in Mooibank and they had to move. But because of the standoff with the community members, we couldn't move people up until around 2 o'clock. It's only when the first group of people came. But it came only after the intervention of the police. There were some firing of tear gas, rubber bullets in the community, and we were then able to start moving people in. By the time that we moved people in, the surveyors were on site pegging land to accommodate the people that we were expecting from Mooibank. Our statistics had it that we were expecting 221 persons to move from Mooibank to Dasland Road settlement. We were packing, we basically did everything. It was working on progress in many respects. We were grading or clearing the land as people are moving in and also packing at the same time. So it was a bit of a challenge and a very difficult process. What I'd like to indicate is that we were successful. I can assure everyone that by Wednesday, everyone in Mooibank had resettled or been relocated to the identified land in Dasland. To date, we have packed 235 land stands. Our initial drawings was that we would put in 267 people in Dasland. But following the discussions with the three adjacent ones, we then agreed that we need to increase the number of stands in that area, and we were then able to extend the area to include about 640 people on site. Of the 640 that were to be moved on site, 221, as indicated, were from Mooibank, and the balance of that was to come from the three wards. So the three wards, 17, 21, and 13, were each to receive 139 stands. So we are currently in the process. Our officials have been on site since Monday to assist with the allocation of people in the Dasland Road area. So I can safely say that the court order was fully complied with by Thursday. There were no more people on the site, and I also need to indicate that in the relocation of people to that area, we were assisted by a number of business community members in the municipality. Ours, one of the bigger companies in town, they assisted with the grading of the soil, to clearing the bush that was there for us to be able to allocate people in there. We also had assistance from one of the farmers around the area where people were in Mooibank, I think it's Tloome, who provided some transport to move people over to Dasland. We are still having situation on the ground, but we believe with the assistance of councillors, ward councillors, the acting mayor, the acting speaker, we are trying to resolve issues and matters as we are going along. And our hope is that in the coming week or 2 weeks, we should be able to have properly allocated people, including those from the adjacent wards. Thank you very much. I should think I would, and then the acting executive mayor and the speaker would add where I might have left some information out. Thank you very much, Speaker.
No, thanks, acting EM, and maybe also welcome the media house present and the acting staff. I think what the acting EM just he said we have allocated 139 to those three adjacent wards. So those people immediately, when we are done, they will start moving. And you'd see the process of making sure that the place is suitable for the people. We'll be grading, we'll start grading. I think the grader is on site. We are busy grading to make sure that we prepare for those 139 people from those three wards. But one other thing that I think we need to emphasize is that when moving the people, we're very, very cautious. We made sure that we don't just put people in an area and we don't take care of them. The municipality had made a point that there is water, the people are being supplied with water, there is sanitation, toilets available on site. We also made a provision to provide them with lights so that at night they don't just stay at the dark. There is a light available that we have provided there. And also for the school kids, you remember that we have moved the people from that area and they are here. Some of them, they are going to school from different schools. We have made that provision to accommodate them, transport to the scholar transport, to transport them to those different schools to make sure that we don't disrupt their routine, their classes. And another thing that we as a municipality that we have made provision of is that because some of the people, their shacks were not yet erected, so you know, during the night it's cold, we're approaching winter if it is not winter already. So we've made a provision of Poshdam for those that their shacks or their shacks were not erected. We're transporting them to Poshdam, to sleep in Poshdam and transport them back in the morning to make sure that they get their place in order so that at least they've got a sleeping place, but also for the kids, because you know that the children can't go to school, so we made that provision for Poshdam so that the kids can get a warm bath and be nice when going to school. I think those are the things that maybe the acting MM just